Hey, Chad, can you bring me a bottle of that tequila? Don't open it, though. We're drinking out of the bottle today. I think I just heard Nam call HR. Today on Supercross. Brought to you by Rancho Mezcal.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the best BMX channel on YouTube. My name is Tucker, and today I have a special guest with us at the Supercross HQ. This guy I've known longer than I've even been alive, and he's the longest running member on the Supercross team, Randy Roberts.
Good, how you doing? Good to see you, Tuck.
Good to see you too. It's been what? Last time you saw me, I was like all the way down here, diverse.
I don't know. You have like facial hair. I don't know. It's crazy. I'm going too fast.
Well, I know you have a meeting with Bill today, so I figure I'll let you get to that.
All right, buddy. Good to see you.
You were here.
For those of you who don't know, Randy Roberts is my brother from another mother and has been a part of the Supercross family for a longer time than we can actually remember. And that just proves that I'm getting old.
I don't remember not riding a Supercross.
Right. And here's the thing. For this last half of Supercross, and I don't know if I call it the last half. I mean, it's been 34 years. I remember you being a younger kid, and I remember Eddie Livingston telling me about this rad kid out at Simi and how this rad kid, needed to get hooked up. And, Eddie, rest his soul, was always bragging and talking about you. And right about that time, Jason Donnell was our pro, and I got ripped off by a former business partner, and the company kind of went on a little bit of a lull. And as we were starting to pick back up, as I was working a regular day job and doing Supercross on the side, and I say a lot, he has to cut these out a lot. He probably won't cut this one out because I'm describing it. But in the videos, people can watch the edits. Make a game, take a shot. Every time you think that there's an edit where I say take a shot. Rancho Mezcal. David, proudly brought to you by Rancho Mezcal. So Mike Flaherty, who also ripped me off, I remember Mike, and it's on video, told me, and one of the great things that he did for me is that he told me that he's like, hey man, he goes, I've got this kid out here that, he's rad and he needs some help. And at the time, JP Fellon was back riding for us again. And I'm like, yeah, let's give this kid a hand. Let's give him some help. And I remember the very first time I met you was at that NBL National that they held in San Fernando, somewhere by that dam, and it was a mud fest, if I'm not remembering properly, or maybe it was before the mud fest.
Yeah, it rained Saturday, it rained Sunday, and we raced Saturday, and then I think it was Sunday. You're talking about the race at the behind Pick Apart.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the dump. It's weird that there was a track there.
Right. The NBL always picks great spots to put their tracks at, right? No one can ever afford the land, so we put the track in the absolute worst spot that they could ever think of.
It's weird that it was like 10 minutes from my house, and nobody ever rode there. It was it was like a whirlwind. Like it was there, and then it wasn't.
Right.
And they had a national there.
Right. It's the NBL, So NBL, Jesus, they'd put a national anywhere they could.
I flipped the gate at that in practice because I hadn't did any NBL races. So I flipped the gate, and I'm pretty sure it was that orange bike, and I flipped it so hard that the gate fell on the bike, and like Danny Nelson was next to me, Christoph, like all the pros that I looked up to were all there, and they all hit the gate because my bike stopped the gate from going down. And so that was my first experience of them all being angry at me.
Your first experience of them all being angry at you. There's a lot more times that they've all been angry at you.
I went on watch. And we don't do that in NBL. I guess it would be like the same as going on watch now.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think it was...
No, but so from that point on, and that was 2000?
Something like that.
99 maybe. I mean,
yeah.
It's been a long time. You and I have been pretty much inseparable since that time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Been good.
And, you know, I remember the day your son Charlie was born. I'm
Yeah.
so proud that, you know, the day that you announced that you're getting a wedding, you know, you're going to get married. You know, Sylvia was like, I mean, it's family. And that's what BMX brings to this whole culture. I mean, there's family. It's family. It truly is. And there's so many good stories and so many we can't tell until we get done taking a few more shots. Brought to you by Rancho Mezcal. If you're going to drink Mezcal, drink safely, drink responsibly. This is the Mezcal you want to drink. Sorry, I get a free bottle every time I do one of these. And like I said, I try and drink 6 at a time. So
Yeah.
I've got to do quite a few of these to make
Adds up
sure.
quick.
Yeah, these things are like $100 a bottle or something like
man.
that too. So it's supposed to taste really good. I just pound it down, and I don't know. It's just I've never done it for the taste. It's just, you know, everybody says you got to drink 6, so I drink 6. But there's so many good stories. The BMX traveling, the brotherhood of BMX.
Yeah.
We were talking earlier, and I've been trying to think of someone who's been on a factory team for one continual run longer than you have. And Tucker, who's working here now and is helping with all the website and social media, he was going through and trying to put together a little legacy page on the website. And he was like, Dad, we got to put a number for how long these riders have been with us, because we've got some of the riders like Kent Fallon. He's been with us 18 years because he started in 2005. So 18 years nonstop. You know, he got 3 #1 Vet Pro titles with us, and now he's back racing 41, 45 expert. I think he's that old now.
Yeah, he's probably, I think he's a year older than me, maybe. He's 45.
Yeah. So yeah, I think he's racing that now. But he's like, Dad, how many years do we put for Randy? And I'm like, oh, frick. The beginning of time, you know, I think Randy started with us when we still had stone wheels and wooden frames. I was showing him the link that we found on the website where we were going back through the old archives. You know, in 2003, we did the first Euro bottom bracket on our frame. And here's the interview with Randy Roberts, you know, and it's like, that was 20 years ago. And you had been riding for us for years.
Yeah, it was a
at
while
that
before
point.
I ran a Euro bottom bracket.
Right. And you were hesitant to ride the Euro bottom bracket.
Those little kids stuff.
Yeah, you're like, I'm not riding the Euro bottom bracket. I'm not doing that. I remember having to convince you to do it.
There was something that I like, a 2x4 and a hammer to put together my bike. It was sometimes it
Yeah.
makes you feel good.
Okay, you get out a little bit of aggression.
Now you don't have to do any of that. You don't have to do any. You screw those in, pop those in, and your bike's put together. I don't know.
Yeah, it was too simple.
Yeah, too
right?
easy.
It made progression of everything too easy.
Yeah.
But it was really cool to see that article from 2003 was still up, and it had a picture of you. And you know what? You look just like you do today. So I was like, you're wearing an Atom Lab hat though instead of a Supercross hat. So that was a difference. But other than that, I mean, you still look the same.
Well, that's good, I guess.
Yeah, but it was cool. It was just like, wow, that's really cool. I remember when you had Jan Baltersen living at your house.
Yeah.
And you had Heinrich living there
Heinrich,
with you
yep.
guys for a little while.
Yep. That was good times.
Great times. Heinrich still likes our Instagram posts, messages me every once in a while.
I haven't talked to either one of them in a long time.
Yeah, Heinrich's doing a lot of mountain bike racing over there
cool.
in Denmark, and you know he's still
Meathead.
yeah,
The meathead.
the meathead. Damn, that meathead could kill it though, right?
Yeah, he was fast.
I remember when we did the Ontario Worlds.
Those guys liked to train. Like that was the difference between. It was good for them to live with me and ride with, because they did the training part, which I never cared to do, which I kind of enjoy now.
Yeah.
Which is weird, but they like to train and lift weights and do sprints and do that, and I just like to ride my bike. So like to bring that aspect in back then was cool. That
is cool.
And then I think it worked the other way too. Made Jan try to have fun on his bike because
I know it made Jan try and have.
Because he was the fastest dude down the first straightaway. Got nervous.
Do you remember when Jan missed his main at Del Mar? when he thought he didn't make the cut and he was sitting in the stands?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Do you know what my favorite story and my favorite memory, it's not a story, my favorite memory, and one thing that I try and tell everybody about BMX is make memories, okay? So as we're going to go down this little weird history course or this little weird memory course, BMX isn't, there's a lot of people who think that it's about number one. Who's number one? Who's the best? Who's going to get number one? Who can win every lap? Who can do this? Yeah, that's cool. The problem is a lot of the people who have done that, they come into the sport,
Don't do it anymore.
they leave the sport.
Yeah.
They're gone, right? They come in, they're gone. It's a blip and they're gone. They don't care about the sport. They come in and they're gone. The people who make the memories, the people who have fun with the sport, they're in it forever. I mean, look, what year did you start? How old were you when you started?
I'd say I was 12.
Okay, so you were 12 when you started. So you've got 32 years total time riding a BMX bike that you've never stopped.
Well, no, I mean, started racing at 12, but I don't remember not riding a BMX bike.
Okay.
Like, same.
Right, it's just
That passion never stopped. Like when just a track opened and, oh, we can race. Let's go race. Like, oh man, I got to put brakes on my bike. That was the biggest thing that my bike didn't have brakes on it. And then now I can't ride without brakes. But
right.
yeah, like, oh, they make you have brakes at the track. I got a long sleeve shirt and a helmet. All right, let's go racing.
My first time I went to a BMX track, they told me I had to take a helmet. This is a weird offshoot that we'll save for something later, but for the full story, I took a football helmet. Okay, being dumb. I was 7 years old. They told me I had to have a helmet. I literally grabbed a football helmet, and they're like, "Dumb kid, you can't wear a football helmet here. This is BMX track." I was heartbroken. Turned away. 7 years old. I rode myself to the BMX track because I wanted to race. They wouldn't let me race with a football helmet.
I'm pretty sure like 5 years ago in Vegas, maybe I think the guy even won the Grands that rides for Bay Area BMX. He won my class with a football helmet on.
Really?
Yeah, and I think he was a football player, and he's like a super good athlete. But like he won the first day, and I think I cut him off the next day. But
no. So here's the thing: is going back to what we were saying. It's making memories. It's having fun, and between you and I, we've got a zillion memories, and there's so many stories that we can tell, so many stories that we can't tell, and the can't tell ones we'll save that for if we ever do, what do they call it, a Patreon. That's what it's called. So when we have our Patreon, brought to you by Mezcal, brought to you by Rancho de Luna Mezcal, not brought to you by Mezcal. We've been taking shots off screen already. Screen. See, we've been taking those shots. Brought to you by Rancho Mezcal. Yeah, he's got to drive home. There's so many memories that we can talk about.
That's the best part.
It is. It's by far the best part. The memories are.
All the places we got to go, all the things we got to do, everything is
So
there's times I could have went to races and maybe did a lot better if I didn't stay out all night, but
well, that's a part of it.
But then I wouldn't have had any fun. And
do you remember what you did to Jan in Lancaster?
No.
You don't?
What I do though?
Okay, this is one of my favorite stories about Jan and you. Now, you and Jan were roommates at the time, and Jan was by far one of the fastest pros on the circuit at that point.
Yeah.
And all it took was for Donnie Robinson to barely bump him, and he'd pull brake.
Yeah.
He'd grab brake.
Yeah.
Right? Sorry, I didn't mean to pull Rancho de Luna Mezcal into the scene. But he'd barely bump Jan. And all of a sudden, he'd pull brake.
Mm-hmm.
In Lancaster, he was getting to the first turn first. Just like you said, first turn first, every single time. Donnie Robinson, and Donnie, I love you, Donnie. And I'm sorry that Jan started your concussions, because this is when I remember seeing your helmet pop off. And this conversation is probably what started some of it. And I'm sorry. I could be wrong. Going by memory, I'm getting a little old. Jan was frustrated You told Jan, stop being a pussy. And Jan got offended. He's like, Randy, I hate that word. That is a disgusting word. Stop calling me that, Randy. And you looked at him and went, pussy. And he went, Randy, stop calling me that. And you went, pussy. And he's like, Randy, if you call me that one more time, Randy. And you went, pussy. And he went, Randy, I will hurt you, Randy. I will hurt you. And you went, pussy. Randy, you have to stop, Randy. You have to stop. The whole way walking up to staging, I watched you walking up to staging. Pussy. And Jan's like, Randy, you need to stop. Pussy. Randy, you better stop or I'm going to hurt you. Pussy. Randy, you better stop that, Randy. You better stop. Now, mind you, for the people who don't know, Jan is about 6'4" Danish, built, not an ounce of fat on his body.
Ivan Drago
Ivan Drago.
with a shaved head.
Shaved head.
And all the reason he doesn't have, he said, hair doesn't grow on steel.
Okay.
Hair doesn't grow on iron.
Hair doesn't grow on iron. Biggest, burliest, buffest guy you'd ever want to meet, right? He should not have been racing a BMX bike, but he did, and he was fast, and he was a great guy, and he was a pussycat. The heart of gold. Heart of gold. Nicest guy in the world. So I hope my imitation of him doesn't make him upset because I love Jan. Jan, I love you. But the whole time up to stage and you're like, pussy, and Jan, Randy, you better stop it. I'm going to hurt you. And you just kept pushing him, right? So that moto, Jan shoots out, right? Donnie, knowing that if he bumps Jan's going to back down, right? Donnie, boom, bumps him. Jan, whoa, blasted him so hard. I watched Donnie's helmet pop off.
Oh, man.
I watched his helmet pop off. I was like, oh. I was like, that's it, right? And here's the sad part. Jan stopped for him. Jan stopped. Jan stopped, grabbed brake, and stopped for him. I hope someone has video, please. If someone has video, send it in, please. Jan stopped for him to make sure he was okay. Because he went down hard. Jan took all of his pent-up aggression from you, boom, on the way to staging. And it was just like, oh my God. It was so funny. Sad for Donnie. Sorry, Donnie. But it was, to me, it was just such a classic memory of you two. Because, here you guys are roommates, you're riding together, you're training together. You knew how to push his buttons.
If his head was right, he wouldn't have been beat by anybody. That's what.
100%. And that's where
I watched it night after night at practice. We practiced with Danny, and Danny was number one at the time, and Robert and everybody, and Jan would eat everybody up down the first straightaway, and then show up to the race and shut down the second straightaway. He's in his own head. That's all.
Right. But that's where you knew how to push him.
Yeah.
You knew where to push him. Now, Jan still felt bad after he blasted Donnie.
Yeah.
Bad enough that he stopped. Oh, hold on. Got to pull brake. Got to check on him. Got to make sure my friend's okay.
Jan was funny. Oh man, funny dude.
Yeah. He was awesome.
I would take him out with me, and he would try to arm wrestle everybody. got a couple shots of the Jägermeister in him. He would arm wrestle the whole club.
He'd tear up the elephant bar.
Two at a time.
Oh my goodness. And then when his other brother, Heinrich, and it was funny, I had never heard of Heinrich. I don't think many people here in the U.S. had heard of Heinrich when Jan showed up one day and he's like, you need to sponsor my little brother. my little brother's coming over. You need to sponsor Heinrich. And it was like, all right, Jan, whatever you need, man, whatever you want. No, you need to sponsor my little brother. My little brother's fast. He's pretty good. You need to sponsor him. And I remember calling you and going, Randy, if Heinrich's anything like Jan, this is going to be freaking awesome, right? And I remember we went to Ontario Worlds, and what, he got third behind Bubba and Paulie Lang in Pro Open?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that was his first US race.
Yeah. Remember Ontario? Yeah. I like that track. Miss that track.
Yeah. Well, I remember when you broke your pedal and almost killed yourself over the.
Oh, I almost, yeah.
That was horrible.
I had a few of those, yeah. There, but
I
the
remember-
mud race. The mud race was fun.
Oh, the mud race was bad. But I'm remembering, and I think it was James Ayers, he sent me the photos back then. I don't know if I still have them anymore after my hard drive got stolen the one time. When your pedal snapped, you were running,
I high-sided into the first turn.
yeah.
I think I hit somebody's front wheel with my back wheel jumping into the first turn and landed on the blacktop.
Your Crank Brothers pedal snapped.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I'm pulling them. The memory banks are going quick right now. Your Crank Brothers pedal snapped, and you high-sided into the asphalt on the first turn.
Yep.
And
I hit so hard I bounced up and had no choice but to be standing.
yeah,
I shouldn't have walked out of that one.
you hit, you smacked,
Yeah.
you shattered your helmet,
Yeah.
and it shattering the helmet hit so hard that it popped you right back up to your
I
feet.
ran out of it. after I landed, yeah, I bounced, but
And I remember-
tried to race the next day, but
Yeah.
my leg didn't work anymore. Yeah, I'm not supposed to remember that kind of stuff.
Well, no. Well, these are some.
Well, at least I remember it.
Yeah, at least you
I
remember.
broke the helmet and I remember it. That's good.
Well, and that's where we always made sure as a team, we always made sure we put you guys in good helmets.
Yeah.
We've had some pretty shitty helmet sponsors want to sponsor the team, and they've wanted to throw money at the team, and we've turned them down. And I remember that M6 helmet that you were wearing was the Moto M6 helmet, and I remember we bought it. We paid money to make sure that you were wearing the best helmet rather than having someone sponsor the team and give us money. And had we at that point taken the shitty helmets and taken money for the team, you might not have been able to remember it.
Yeah. 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 I had the full moto helmet on.
Yeah, you had the full Moto helmet on. And that's part of why even now with all of our Fly stuff,
Yeah.
you know, Fly's been with us for 12 years now, 13 years. Geez, Ray'll kill me if I don't get the exact year right. Maybe it's 14 years. But they've always made sure we've had the best. And it's to make sure that we have protection, to make sure we have these memories.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, dude, some of the stuff that, but again, these are just some of the stories that we can remember and we can tell. Hell, I remember going to a couple of the races riding in the back of your pickup truck. We didn't have enough room. Or I remember the one time Tom's Ernsdorf was in the cab of your truck, so I opted to sit in the back of your pickup truck. There's all kinds of different things. When they shot the rap party at your house for Jackass, that was, I don't know if we can tell that story.
It's just funny that
Brought to you by Rancho de Luna Mezcal. Like I said, I've got to earn my 6 bottles.
yeah, you're gonna
If I don't earn my 6 bottles,
Then
we're
you
not
got
doing
it.
our job right.
that picture of on the inside.
Doesn't it have a cool picture on the inside? You know what that is? That's his house. That's the Rancho de Luna recording
Really?
studio. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it says it. Joshua Tree.
So the problem is after you drink a couple bottles of this, you won't be able to find this place. You won't even know what it is. But Rancho de Luna Mezcal is the best mezcal in the world. Not just on this planet, in the world. Although this planet is the world, so I should say the universe. Rancho de Luna Mezcal, brought to you by Supercross BMX. I think I did that promo backwards. Have you taken another shot yet? I haven't either.
That crash in Ontario was probably the beginning of my back hurting.
Do you think it was?
Maybe that kind of rocked me a little bit. I don't know that I was.
So,
I don't know. That might have been the start. I don't know. I've cased a lot of jumps.
yeah.
so
Jumping off of your shed at the house into the backyard.
Yeah, or there's a bunch of setting up ramps next to the ramp to jump onto the ramp from another ramp.
Yeah. A few different little
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
How many BMX Plus Trans World photo sessions do you think went down in your backyard?
I don't know. There was somebody there all the time shooting.
I know. I
Between
think,
Mike Day and Bubba and those kids, they were following them around. It seemed like.
yeah. At that point, I think they really were.
Yeah. So Mikey was at the house every day. Pretty much lived there.
The kitchen in that house was amazing.
Yeah.
All the old
Yeah.
not BMX actions, but the old.
Yeah, that's all the stuff Brian Schmidt put up when he went there, when he moved in.
That's a name I haven't heard in a long
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, Schmidt.
Geez, so in that house, it was your house, and I remember your room was the Iron Throne bed and the whole thing, and the game stations on the couch in the living room and all that.
Foosball table, pool table in the kitchen.
Pool table in the kitchen. But that was your house. That was Randy's domain. You had the little river that went through the front yard. Who was that lost their car in the river? Malin, when he was working at
ATI. Yeah.
He lost his car in the river, and that car sat there. I mean, I think I drove my Land Cruiser over Malin's car a few times.
Yeah.
Because when the river was going, his car made for a nice bridge.
Yeah, there was no getting it out. It was filled with dirt.
Yeah, filled with sand, filled with dirt. That thing was amazing. So, as you having the ultimate BMX house that people didn't even know about, you had Jan Baltzersen living there with you for a while. You had Heinrich Baltzersen living there with you for a little while. TJ Johnson lived there with you for quite some time.
Yeah.
Brian Schmidt lived there with you for a while.
Yeah. Did Mike Day live there, but he didn't sleep there?
Yeah, Mike Day definitely lived there. I remember he wanted me to move the video game system into your house because Mikey used to come to our house all the time. So Mikey used to come over every day after school and he'd play Donkey Kong and play that with Lincoln.
He actually bought the Mickey Thompson off-road.
Yes.
The
Ivan Stewart
off-road and brought it and stayed at the house until we moved.
Yeah. Okay, so that's.
I don't know if he still has it.
I remember when he called me and wanted me to move that into your house. He's like, Bill, can we use your truck to move this over here to Randy's? Yeah, man, anything we can do. I remember when we tried to save it from the fire.
House?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when the Santa Clarita fires were going on and we had to get out there with the hoses, and Mike Myers came over there and was helping put out the fires. I mean,
yeah.
When he used to drive little Anthony Picardo, Shibby, around to all the events when Shibby was 4 years old and 5 years old and 6 years old, and now he's a top pro on the circuit.
Kid's
what
good.
The heck, you know?
Kid's good.
But who else lived there in the house? Did Jill ever live there, or Jill just
she stayed there for a while. She this is her California home.
Because I remember when Jill would ride over to the shop all the time, and she'd be like, "Yep, I'm trying to get Randy to train, so I'm riding from the house to the shop."
Yeah,
Jill was funny. I love Jill. She mauled me that one time in Vegas. She came running down the escalator and jumped on my back in her bike show. That girl.
She did pretty good for herself.
Yeah, not too bad. She's got a few
couple. Taught her all that.
Taught her all that. Yeah. You were a good coach that way. You did that for Mikey
and Bubba too.
For a little bit. Yeah. You taught some people how to be fast.
Or I gave them a place to ride.
Yeah. Well, here's the beauty of it, though, is that we're all still friends.
Yeah, for sure.
30 years later, 40 years later.
Yep.
You know,
that's the best part about the sport, I think.
It is. It's the best part of BMX.
Yeah.
It's what I get out of it.
Yeah, no, and it's cool. And I get to do it now, like over again with my kid, and he loves it and gives me a new thing. So
it's so funny. I get so many people who will call me, and they're like, "Hey, who's this Charlie Roberts? How'd he get on the factory team?" I'm like, "Oh, that's Randy's son. He's family through and through. You know, he's second generation. You know, and I love that. You know, Charlie's so funny."
Yeah,
I need to give you my Mr. Bill doll to take home for him.
Oh man, yeah, had fun with that.
Is he still
Well, that's
looking
what-
for Sluggo in the backyard?
I don't know if you. It's weird the stuff he remembers from when he was little and the stuff he doesn't. Like he takes in stuff like when we drove like when he was like 4 or 5. He was in a Thomas the Train and we drove out to like Paris. Doesn't remember that. We paid whatever $75 a person to ride on this stupid ass train. Drove
Right.
3 hours to get there, and he's like, "What are you talking about? It's Thomas." But then he's like, he said something the other day. I'm like, "You remember that?" And you don't remember.
I'm the same way. Ask anybody. There's certain things that I remember and certain things I don't. But I think all kids are like
It's like,
that.
remember when I built my bike when I was 3? Like, you're like 2.5, but yeah.
Yeah.
You and him built a bike together while I went to the bathroom. I'm not sure how that happened.
Yeah. I remember when he came to the shop the first time when we were picking out colors.
Yeah, he wanted orange and
Orange and blue. Orange, white, and blue. And then we built you the 26er to match.
yeah,
Because
same
he
bike.
had to have a bike that matched his dad.
Yeah.
You know, dad had to have a bike to match. It was still so funny. I remember him going down the start hill at the old shop when we had the playground.
Yeah.
And, you know, here he was, 2 years old, no fear,
No.
bombing down the 8-meter Olympic replica start hill. And the first time, I think he did it without you or I seeing. So that just shows that we're both bad parents.
Yeah.
Not to sound bad, but you know, you and I were talking. He was riding his Strider. It's a fenced yard, so all the parent people who are going to get mad, it's a fenced yard. It's locked. We were at the gate area. We didn't think that a 2-year-old would decide to take his Strider up an Olympic start hill, and all of a sudden we hear whoosh, and there he goes, and he tries to clear the first jump, and he ate crap.
Yeah.
And he cried, but he wanted to do it again.
Yeah.
And again, and again, and again, and again, and again. And at that point, I knew you were in trouble.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, Randy's in trouble. This is going to be bad. And look now,
Yeah.
he's dragging you around all these races. You get to live your whole BMX career a second time.
Yeah. But I had to piece my bike together when it was time to race, and he doesn't know what it's like to not have a badass bike.
Well, that's where us as parents.
Yeah, it's a whole different thing.
Right. So myself growing up, just like you, we had to piece it together. Okay. On one of the other podcasts that I did with Big Bike BMX, they had asked me how the whole thing started. I had told them that my FedEx driver at one point had asked me, you know, how do you keep Supercross going? Where's the hustle come from? How does this go? It's weird. I never started with anything. I mean, I grew up as a latchkey kid. Mom and dad were divorced. We lived in I hate to say it, it was a great apartment. It was a crappy little apartment. It was a great apartment, crappy little apartment. You know, we lived in this little apartment. We didn't have a lot of food. We didn't have a lot of clothes. We didn't have a lot of anything. We grew up on very meager upbringing. I wanted a pack of gum really bad one day. I wanted actually a piece of gum. I didn't want a pack of gum. I was waiting at the bus stop, 7 years old, and I wanted a piece of gum. And I couldn't get a piece of gum. And I wanted one really bad. And I remember finding a quarter. And I remember leaving the bus stop for school, running to the liquor store, buying a pack of gum, going back to the bus stop, chewing a piece of gum, just being so happy because I got a piece of gum. And then someone's like, hey man, can I have a piece of gum? No, you can't have a piece of gum. Do you know how bad I wanted this? Now I've got 4 days worth, right? And he's like, give you a quarter for a piece of gum. Sold, done. Here's a piece of gum. Who else wants a piece of gum? Quarter a piece. I got 3 more pieces. Sold the other 4 pieces in the pack. Got $1. Next day, I was gum rich, dude. I showed up. I had packs of gum. I'm slinging out pieces for a quarter a piece. I ended up getting in so much trouble at school because we weren't allowed to chew gum at school. Man,
Everybody had gum.
but you know what? I had a handful of money. That's how we started and how we grew. I try and make sure I give my kids anything I can, just like you do for Charlie. So
Yeah.
that's where the second generation comes around, is that, you know, we knew what it was like So we try and provide. What we do, because we got heart, right? It's what we want to do. I know, that was a long-winded, weird story. Brought to you by Rancho de Luna Mezcal, the best mezcal on the planet. When your time to drink is right, grab Rancho, la 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 la.
You got to quit drinking those.
I do need to quit drinking these. I think the third one got to me. You need to drink Rancho Luna Mezcal. Rancho Luna Mezcal, the best mezcal in the world. David, love you. The memories of BMX. That's exactly what this whole thing brings about, is how we move forward. And the friendships, right? I mean, when you showed up today and you saw Tucker, I mean, I know you saw him a year ago, 6 months ago. I mean, we don't get to see each other much since we moved out here, but you know, you charge each other with a hug.
Yeah.
That it's family, right? I mean, you've been around longer than he's been around. Right. It's weird, right? That's where I dare anybody out there to try and think of somebody who's been on a factory team longer than you have. I'm going to say you go down in the record books for that. You're in the Supercross BMX Hall of Fame. That's why we dedicated the OS20 to you. The OS20 frame that we did, the only reason we made that OS20 frame was because you said it was fun.
Yeah, thanks, rad. It's definitely the next step in my life. Be on a little bit bigger, a little bit easier to ride, a little bit. I think it can still go fast.
Yeah.
Now that
can you knock on the window and ask Chad if he can bring up an OS20 frame? I hate doing these. So since I hate doing these, I try and
you're gonna make me do it too.
Well,
since you hate it, you're gonna make me do it. Right.
But I try and make it fun.
It's like, here, this milk's gone bad. Try it.
Have you ever done that to somebody?
I don't know.
This milk, I think it's bad. You smell it.
Happens at my house all the time.
That is a perfect analogy, though.
This is terrible. Try it. No, you said it's terrible.
This is gross. Here, you try it.
And you used it.
This is horrible. Oh, look. Thank you, Chad. Look, this is even in bulldozer blue.
Yeah, badass.
This frame, the OS20 RS7, the only reason we built this is because I gave you that prototype frame that you sat on for 3 years.
Yeah.
So
I should have put it together sooner.
When we built these first prototypes, and the only reason we built these first prototypes is my distributor, Andy from Sorted over in the UK, said, hey, Bill, you got to make an OS20. You got to make an OS20. And when he said, Bill, you got to make an OS20, I said, hey, Andy, no way. Not going to do it. And he's like, what do you mean not going to do it? And I said, well, I know Mike Day personally. Mike Day is a good friend of mine. My wife has a Mike Day action figure from the Olympics. My wife used to feed Mike Day turkey in the garage when he would come over and play video games. He's a personal friend. They designed the OS20 frames for Mike Day to try and go faster at the Olympics. Mike Day said, no way. It's not faster. It's not better. This isn't right. And he opted not to do it. So we knew that it wasn't going to be faster. And if it wasn't going to be faster, we didn't want to move forward with it. But he convinced me to go ahead and build 3 of them. So we did. We built 3. And we gave 1 to Andy. We gave 1 to you. We gave 1 to Tim Dinger. Now, Tim Dinger, again, a Supercross lifer, hasn't built his yet. It's still sitting in storage. Hasn't built his. His is this badass glitter color, really cool. He wanted it, all crazy. Didn't build it. He got some job working for some dog CBD company. He's the top manager, and he just hasn't had time. Andy built his, and he's like, yep, it's not faster, and he hasn't ridden it. I gave it to you, and you sat on it for a while. When you were having your back issue, and you said, hey, Bill, I'm not going to ride 20-inch anymore. Is it okay if I just ride cruiser? And I said, Randy, are you going to have fun? And you said, yeah. And I said, just go have fun. I don't care. You put together your OS20.
Yep.
And I remember you calling me and said, Bill, this is the funnest thing that I've ever ridden.
No, it feels right. It feels how it's supposed to feel right now.
And when you said it was the funnest thing that you had ever ridden, I was like, oh, hold on. Game on. game on. Because for years, everything we had done with Supercross has been, let's make it faster. Let's make it stiffer. Let's make it faster. Let's make it go fast. Let's go fast. Let's go fast. Because fast has always been fun to me.
Yeah.
Okay. If we can go faster, it's fun. If I take my Raptor out and if I hit 140 going through the washboards and all, it's fun, right? I'm going fast. It's fun. If I take the Beamer out and if I hit 180, that's fun, right? You're
Yeah.
going fast. It's fun. So that's always been one of my things. Let's go fast. Let's go fun. But when you said it's fun without saying that it's fast, I was like, damn.
I think at that point I couldn't pedal. I was just taking it to the pump track and
Yeah.
jumps, and then, so I didn't have to do a gate start. I didn't have to do it, but turns out it's fast too.
So with Bubba, when we did the chromoly frames, Bubba started calling it the fun machine.
Yeah.
Bubba was after me to do the chromoly frames, and he's like, Bill, you got to keep bringing these chromoly frames back. These are my fun machine, and Bubba, 3-time #1 pro, world champion. He wants to ride. He teaches tons of clinics. He loves to ride, and he wants to ride. So he rides one of our SX 450s, which we've got, some cool stuff coming up with that. But his big thing is always that he calls it the fun machine. And rad, Bub, you know what? It's the fun machine. Rad, let's do it. He sends me pics all the time. Him just blasting out a bowl at the skate park.
Yeah.
And, he's riding the trails, but then he'll go to the track and ride it. It's his all-around bike. I mean, which is what we originally designed the chromoly frame to be when we had like Aaron Johnson on the team, rest his soul. We used to call it the Swiss Army knife, to where you want to go to the track, you want to go to the trails, you want to go to the skate park. That's what it was for. And that's where with this, the OS20, you were leaning towards the cruiser. You wanted to ride your cruiser.
Something a little more forgiving, something a little smoother, this is, since I've always rode a 20-inch.
Yeah.
And it's like the, say, happy medium, but you can still do X-ups without hitting your foot when your tire comes around.
Right.
And I got short legs, so my butt doesn't hit on the tire. And it's the difference in how much smoother and easier all around.
It makes it fun.
And then we're going to see how fast it is pretty soon.
There you go. There you go.
Now that my back's fixed and my legs work.
So, but with this, the OS20, the way we designed it is that it still used your regular 20-inch fork. We adjusted the geometry so that the bottom bracket height is right, your wheel clearance is right, and we tried to set it up to where you've got feeling like a 20-inch bike, but with the OS20 wheels.
So when Mikey got his, it had a longer fork.
Yep.
And they didn't account for the
head angle.
And it was like this. It was the wheel was sticking out like that.
Right.
It was like that. So that was the first problem with it.
Well, and I think too many companies have done that. And that's where when Yes was still around, they started doing OS20 bikes. And then when they realized that it wasn't faster, they started doing mullet bikes where it was an OS20 front and a regular 20-inch
back
rear.
Wheel move. I feel like, and that was another thing, they didn't have light wheels. They didn't have wheels that were light when they did it. Now.
Yeah, Tioga's making a great tire for it. You can get a good carbon rim for it. We've got the new Speedline carbon rims coming out for it. You can lace it up with the Killer Buzz hubs. You've got the Speedline and the Supercross forks for it. So, I mean, you can make it just as light, just as efficient as a regular 20-inch RS7. But the biggest thing, like you were saying, is it's fun.
Mm-hmm. A little more traction, a little more stability, a little more.
Yeah.
And
it'll help make more memories.
Get to race 20-inch for longer.
Yeah. It'll help make more memories. Come on. Okay. You ready? You play guitar, I'll sing.
That's a bad idea.
That's a bad idea?
Yeah.
How many shots?
I'm not very good at guitar.
Come on. Come on, ready? Pluck a few notes. What do you got?
Nothing. It doesn't. I gotta tune it.
Going downtown, going to see my gal. So, but yeah, I mean, this thing's badass. And of course, look, Euro bottom bracket like you did in 2003.
I could still hammer something in there.
Yeah, I think you could. I don't know about the cups though. You know,
Yeah,
that integrated, you could probably hammer
the
something.
fact that I don't have to tighten my headset like 3 or 4 times after I put a bike together is crazy.
Yeah.
Like you put it together once and I'm getting old.
Well, and the thing
I still tighten my headset every time I get on the gate, imaginarily.
yeah, hey,
which,
all of us.
which that didn't even make sense back in the day because you shouldn't have been able to turn that with the lock.
Should have been,
But you always were.
but you could.
So because that was supposed to lock.
Yeah, because that you had that little washer with the tang that was
But you
supposed to
the gate, your headset unweighted, you went like that and tightened it, and then did it again every lap. But
every lap.
it became a thing I do when I get on the gate. I get on the gate, tighten your headset. I don't even have anything to tighten. Like,
So
it's already tight.
what's funny with this is Turnell is so jealous of you having your Bulldozer RS7 OS20. I'm making him a chromoly one.
Oh, nice.
Because he's been on the SX450, but the Bubba Fun machine, but he wanted the OS20. And it was funny, again, talking about memories. He wanted to steal your OS20 frame when you were having back surgery. He's like, hey, Randy's having back surgery. I should just be able to ride his bike, you know, and I'll give it back. And I'm like, Turnell, you can't do that. So, but he wants to ride the chromoly anyway. So we're building him
cool.
chromoly OS20s.
That's cool.
So
that'd be awesome. So
yeah.
a lot of guys, I think that there's a lot of guys older that would like that.
Well, here's the thing.
Like that, but
I'm gonna admit when I'm wrong, and on this OS20 stuff, I think I was a little wrong because I didn't jump onto it right away because everybody was like, oh, you got to do it. It's faster. It's faster. It's faster. Well, no, it's not fast. But as soon as you said that magic 3-letter word, fun, okay, I'm all about it. It's fun. If it's funner, then we're going to do it.
I think there's a certain point where being more comfortable is faster.
Yeah.
Like I feel like if I can attack something on my bike and I feel comfortable, I'm going to be faster. So in that sense, it is faster, even though it's more fun to ride. The fun part came from riding the jumps and
the pump
track. When my back was hurt, I couldn't do gate starts.
Well, I've got people begging me to do this in a carbon, but I'm not about to spend $100,000 on tooling for one yet, especially when I've got 3 sizes that we do this in, because we do this in the Pro XL, the Pro Double XL, the Pro Triple XL. To try and do that in carbon, I'm not about to commit $250,000 to do a carbon version of it yet. But by having it in the aluminum version and then having a chromoly version,
I think that takes care of your variety of people that are.
I think it's going to handle most people. Now you've got a signature model. It's not the TK crazy. Ripper, but I think the Bulldozer is going to go down in infamy. That's now, awesome. These first ones obviously have just the full RS7 decal kits because we wanted to rush them out to everything. But I think you got handed a little handful of some of the Bulldozer stickers that we're going to be throwing on these things.
That's cool. That's awesome.
You know, these first 25, my goodness, I was actually really surprised. We finished up 25 frames, said, okay, let's see how it goes. Boom, 2 days, gone, done. So we've got another 50 that'll be ready at the end of January. So I'm not sure when people will see this video compared to when we're recording it, but end of January, another 50 of these things. You know, same butted seat mast as the RS7, tapered seat stays as the RS7, integrated head tube as the RS7, down tube, top tube, Euro bottom bracket. I mean, it's your
badass
race frame, but it's the Bulldozer model.
Man, pretty sweet.
In Bulldozer blue.
Thanks.
So thanks for coming out today, Randy.
No, thanks for having me. Thanks for
I appreciate the surprise.
Oh, man.
Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed watching this. I'm not sure how many shots we took, how many I said that you guys had to take a shot, but Rancho de Luna Mezcal, when you need a bottle of Mezcal, when that mood hits and you need that bottle of Mezcal, this is the brand you need. Rancho de Luna Mezcal at your favorite grocery store. And if you don't need Mezcal, you need a race frame, and you're looking for some fun, because you've already had a little too much mezcal. RS7, bulldozer model, OS20, keeps Randy on the track. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I know this one was a little bit different from what we've done in the past. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do, leave a comment, subscribe, hit the like button, do something, whatever the thing is down there. I don't know what it is. I'm still trying to figure out the super thanks. I think you guys owe me 100,000 of them for the last video. I still want the McLaren.
They watch this on a computer or what?
I think they watched it on their computer, maybe their phone,
Yeah.
maybe
Oh,
their
phone,
tablet.
yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know how that stuff works.
Do you still have a dial-up? I think I have a dial-up. I'm not sure. Do we have dial-up around here? I don't know. But anyways, thanks for watching. Be sure to tune in next time. Same bat channel, same bat time. Is that what they used to say?
I don't know.
Same bat
I don't know
time.
what you say.
Same BMX time, same BMX channel.
Too much of this.
Too much of this. Thanks, guys. We'll see you on the next one.